A few years ago, one of the very first videos that I posted was a full review of what was my favourite day hiking pack, the Osprey Daylite Plus 20. This pack was purchased by me on a complete whim without any of the usual research and preparation that goes into me choosing a new piece of gear, and I have to say that I have absolutely loved it over the last 4 years of using it. So in this video I want to do a much more in-depth review to give you my thoughts over those 4 years of hiking on this, what I think is definitely one of the best day packs on the market. Now if you're a beginner and you're still trying to figure out all the things you need to about this thing that we call hiking, chances are you've been walking around gear shops for a little while, or perhaps even searching online and trawling through forums as to exactly what is the best day pack for hiking. Well, I'm here to confess to you that I have only ever used one day pack for hiking in my entire last 3 years since I started this channel, and that is the Osprey Daylite Plus. Now Osprey is a very well-known name in the hiking community. They've been making hiking gear for a number of years, and it has been tried and tested through some of the most harshest conditions and in some of the harshest environments. But it is a brand that until recently I didn't know anything about. In fact, the Osprey Daylite Plus was the first and only Osprey product I've ever purchased. But I could not be happier with how it's worked out for me. I originally purchased it as a biking commute bag for when I was biking to and from work, and since then it has transitioned rather wonderfully into my favourite day hiking pack. So let's talk a little bit about all the features that you're going to find on this pack. First of all, let's talk about the material that the pack is constructed from. So the entire pack is made out of a 210D nylon fabric. Now this is ostensibly supposed to be quite a heavy duty and hard wearing fabric, and I have to say that at this point in time I have no reason to doubt that that is the case. I have seen a few reviews from people who have used this pack extensively, and I see that there have been comments about the pack suffering abrasion in the very early stages of using it, and I will say that I have had a few scuff marks and things appear on my pack, but most often than not it's just marked from general wear and tear. Usually it's just a little bit of dirt, and when I have put the pack through the wash, usually it's come out looking absolutely brand spanking new at the end of it. Outside of the 210D nylon that the main pack is made from, there are also a variety of different mesh features. So for example, you have the 2 mesh pockets on either side of the pack, and then on the very back of the pack you have a nice foam padded panel which has some lovely little holes cut out for a little bit of ventilation. Now unlike some of the other day packs that Osprey and other companies make, the back of this pack does not include a fully ventilated panel, but I have to say that I have hiked with this pack on some very hot days, and I've never really noticed that my back is sweating overly much from using this pack. At the end of the day, if you're going to be using a day pack with no added ventilation panel, you are going to have to put up with a little bit of heat building up behind your back, but with this pack I don't really find that too much of a problem, and I certainly don't find that I am sweating overly much when I'm wearing this pack. As far as the shoulder straps go, they have still been constructed from that same nylon. I believe they are very comfortable, and on the underside they do also incorporate a little bit of mesh to, I guess, give a little bit more of a comfortable fit and also to provide a little bit more breathability. Throughout the pack, the tried and tested YKK zips have been used, and these zips are fantastic for anybody who is out in the outdoors. They even feature a few little zip pulls on the end, which means that they are incredibly easy to use. You don't have to go fumbling around with your freezing cold fingers in the middle of winter. You can just grab onto the ring pulls and easily open any zip that you want. Now the pack does also have a range of straps and clips to really customize the pack as much as you need to, cinch it down in places where you need it cinched, and also to create a little bit more room in areas that you need it created. It does come with a very small, roughly 22mm wide hip belt, which you might think wouldn't provide any additional support, or certainly not enough to make any difference, but I have to say that when I've had the pack loaded up with 5 kilos plus worth of gear, I have found that that hip belt does just provide enough to allow that weight to ride a little more on my hips and a little less on my shoulders. The pack also comes with the sternum strap that most of Osprey's other packs also come with, and that of course is there for your comfort, but also it incorporates one of my favourite things about Osprey products, and that is a safety whistle on the buckle. I tend to carry a separate safety whistle anyway, but it is so much handier to have this actually built into the pack that you're using. So I love the fact that there is a variety of different places that you can store your gear on this pack, even though it is quite a small 20-litre size. So we can start right on the front where there are 3 different pockets. First of all, we have the very small zip pocket on the front kangaroo pouch, which actually is large enough to hold my iPhone 6 Plus or any standard Plus model of phone. I like to use this front pocket to store things like my lip balm, and of course now we're also using it to store our face masks and multiple other things that I might be carrying that have a relatively flat profile. Sitting just behind that front zip pocket is what I like to call the kangaroo pouch. Now this is an expandable pouch on the front which does have a relatively large capacity despite first impressions. You can open up the buckle side straps as much as you like to give yourself as much space in this area as you can, which makes it large enough to carry things like your wet weather gear, for example, and also maybe a spare set of maps and snacks. More often than not, this is where I'm storing the items that I want to get quick access to throughout the day. I find that it's quite easy for me as I'm hiking to sling one of my shoulder straps off, swing the pack round and grab anything that I need to out of that kangaroo pouch as I'm hiking without needing to stop, and that is a great feature for somebody like me who likes to really tick off the kilometres. And then finally on the front of the pouch we also have this lovely zippered pocket on the very top, and this pocket in particular is great for storing things like valuables. It has 2 mesh pockets on the inside where I tend to store some of the more valuable things that I don't want to misplace, such as my driver's license and my EFTPOS card, and it also has a key clip on the inside if that's something that you tend to use. Other than that, it is a great large capacity pocket, and it's great to have quick access to items that you will use regularly throughout your hike. Things like your sunglasses, maybe a buff, and even some sunscreen during the warmer months, and then during the winter months you might even want to store your beanie and your gloves, things like that in this particular pocket. Before we move to the inside of the pack, it is also important to cover off the fact that this pack has a specific hydration pouch on the back. Now I will hold my hand up and admit that I haven't really gotten the full benefit out of using this particular hydration pouch, and that's because over the years of hiking I've sort of gone off of using hydration bladders and gone more to just using separate bottles. But I can verify that I can get a 3-litre Camelback into this hydration pouch without any issues at all. And actually the pack comes with a great set of loops on the shoulder straps that you can feed a hydration hose through. Moving to the inside of the pack now, and I have to say that I've found the inside very easy to access just by the use of the horseshoe opening zip door. I've heard a lot of people saying that they don't like the fact that they have to unclip the clips on that front kangaroo pouch in order to get to the inside of the pack. They say that they don't get the full benefit of the horseshoe opening door without unclipping that pouch. But I have to say that this isn't an issue that I've ever really experienced with the pack. I find that just opening it down to where those clips tend to be is enough room, more than enough room, for me to put all of my hiking gear inside without having to unclip that pouch. On the inside of the pack, the first thing that you're going to notice is that it does have a separate laptop sleeve right in the back. This sits basically up against where the hydration pouch is on the back of the pack. Now Osprey say that this laptop pouch will fit a 15-inch laptop, and I suppose technically they are correct. If I take my 15-inch Apple MacBook Pro out of its case and slide it into the pack, it will fit. However, if I do put it in its case, which is one of the very slimline clip-on cases, it is a little bit of a squeeze. I can eventually get it in, but it does take a little bit of manoeuvring around, and I find that if I have things already packed into my pack, that process is even more difficult. I've seen photos though, and it looks like a 13-inch laptop would fit without any issues. As for the rest of the interior of the Daylite Plus, it is just one big compartment that you can stuff all of your hiking gear in. As far as the capacity goes though, really the only important thing to me is that I can get all of my day hiking gear plus all of my survival items that I need into this pack, and I can say with absolute confidence and certainty that I've been able to do that every single time. The size of the inside compartment is so large that often I can get a full 2 litres of water inside, plus an additional set of clothes clothing just in case the weather changes, and all of the other gear that I usually carry with me on a day hike. And more often than not now, when I go out on my day hikes, I'm also craving a nice warm drink whenever I stop for lunch, so I'm also packing in my full stove kit into this as well. And on those days where I'm feeling like a little bit more canine company, then I can still fit all of the things that I need for the dog in this pack as well, including her water bowl, additional snacks, and maybe even a rain jacket if the weather isn't that great. Now, of course, as with anything, it's not all sunshine and roses, and unfortunately Osprey can't get everything perfect for everyone. One of the biggest issues that I find with the Osprey Daylite Plus 20 is that those side mesh pockets are pretty useless for carrying water if that's your intention. Despite the fact that they look it, they really aren't deep enough to carry a full bottle of water in, and I find that when I do manage to stash a bottle of water in those side pockets, if I just bend over slightly while I'm hiking during the day, often my bottles are falling out. That being said though, when you combine those side pockets with the straps that attach that front expandable pouch, this becomes a great place to store some of those longer items such as tripods and even trekking poles if you're not always using them through the day. Aside from that, the only other real issue that I have with this pack is something that's not really Osprey's fault because it's not advertised as such, but I do miss the fact that it is not weather resistant or waterproof. If I go out hiking with this pack on a day hike and I know that the forecast is going to be for rain, then I know that I have to use a special pack liner inside to keep all of my gear dry. And this is quite a big come down and thing for me to get used to when I'm used to using a much larger waterproof and weather resistant pack on my through hikes. As far as comfortability goes, I actually find the Osprey Daylite Plus 20 a very comfortable day hiking pack. On multiple occasions I've been out on hikes of over 8 hours with this pack and I've had to cram in a whole bunch of stuff, and I reckon that at its heaviest I've probably had about 5 kilos worth of gear in it. But even with that kind of weight in this day pack and the fact that it does lack an actual padded hip belt, I still find that this is a very comfortable carry regardless. In my opinion, the shoulder straps have been designed beautifully to wrap around your neck in the most comfortable way possible. And being made out of that nice soft material, it means that they just cup your shoulders nicely and take a lot of the weight through the broadness of the straps at the shoulders. Also incorporated into the shoulder straps is a nice little grab handle, which isn't too obtrusive. I'm not a big fan of having a massive grab handle on the top of a pack, but I like this one because I can still grab it quickly if I need to, but it's actually built into the strapping and harness system. And as I mentioned a little bit earlier in the video, if I am carrying those heavier loads, I can always use the attached belt strap to take a little bit less of the weight off of my shoulders and put it more on my hips. It is worth noting that that belt strap is completely removable if you're somebody who prefers not to have that on a day hike pack. All in all, over the last 3 or 4 years of using this pack as my main day hiking pack, I've really come to enjoy it and love it. As somebody who runs a YouTube channel specifically on hiking gear, I do sometimes feel the need to upgrade my gear so that I can give more feedback to you guys, but I have to say, in this circumstance, there's just no need for me to be upgrading my day pack at this point in time. The Osprey Daylite Plus 20 litre pack gives me everything that I need in a day hiking pack and more, plus it has the versatility of being a more urban style pack as well when I choose to use it that way. And that's why I think it'll be a part of my hiking kit for some years to come yet.